Hey yo, it's your girl Ultra Lame the Gutter Rat here, and this is 2 hours or less of one turn kill. One turn kill, or OTK for short, is a roguelite deck builder with the objective, as the name implies, to kill your enemies in one turn. Having just gotten done with a 53-hour binge of Slay the Spire 2, I was definitely in the mood for something different, and this delivers. You play cards with various effects, damage values, and costs, standard deck builder stuff. The unique thing about OTK is that the cost is drawing cards from your deck, and if you're unable to draw the amount of cards with the associated cost, you can't play that card. If you can't play any cards to defeat the enemy in one turn, you lose. The tool set, at least in the first 2 hours, is limited, but there's a lot of depth in those limitations. This deck builder really feels like honing your deck to accomplish the task perfectly. There are 4 enemies that I know of. The first is a damage sponge, kind of standard enemy to teach you the mechanics, and the other 3 have unique mechanics to their fights. OTK feels like the video game version of a bottle movie or a film set in one location. It's not some grandiose game with a bunch of stuff in it. It's a small, crafted experience that asks you to master it. I like that, and it's something I don't really see all that often in video games. Anime aesthetics. I don't really like those types of descriptions, even though they work to some extent. Anime does have an aesthetic quality that you can think of when you hear that word, and this game does evoke those aesthetics. That being said, I would further describe this maybe as a combination of something like Dandadan with like a chibi style. It's simultaneously a little cute, but dark or serious. It's good. It evokes its tone really well. Everything in the game is pixel art, including cards and text, and most importantly with that, everything is legible, including text, visuals, etc. Attack cards are red, ability cards are blue, and one-turn fight effects are purple. Nice, clear, and easy to distinguish. A minor complaint I do have is that there is a time element to the game. If you have too many cards in hand, they start to overlap, and it can become difficult to distinguish between them, especially the attack cards, since the art on those are more similar to each other than the ability cards, which have more visual distinction to them. I really enjoy how simple the start game menu is. It's your character, a fire to depart, an edit deck machine, and a scarecrow to test your deck against. The character design is great, and I'm not just saying that because the main character is a white-haired girl with bangs. You know, there might be some bias there, but overall, all of the characters look good. It hits that sweet spot of simple design but readable characters. Poppy EDM, a nice crackling fire, solid attack sounds. The sound design does its job and does it well. The music's great without tiring itself out. Definitely something I would listen to at the gym. You play as Saskia, a mercenary sent on a mission by someone to infiltrate a facility with guards and church members. Your sister Rita is your comms person and has gotten stuck somewhere within the facility. You fight your way through, beating a guard, a little girl with the church, and presumably the leader of the facility. Obviously, only playing 2 hours of the game isn't enough to experience the totality of the story, but it is enough to get those first hooks that pull you in. In this world, there seems to be lost technology that links humans with machines. After defeating the final enemy, you reconvene with your sister in the facility and comment on how it seems more like augmented reality than actual reality. You leave the facility and end up where you started, at the beginning of the mission. I won't spoil much beyond that, but it is intriguing enough to keep me going. OTK is a tight deck builder with unique gameplay, solid visuals, great music, and an intriguing plot that has me continuing to play. It's difficult in a way that I don't see very often, asking you to refine your strategy over the course of many losses. That being said, I'm very bad at this game, but it is the type of game that makes me want to get good at it. One Turn Kill is one of those games that gets my ratistic brain churning and makes me hyperfixate on the optimal strategy. I give this game 0 rats harmed over the course of 1 turn. Until next time, peace. Hey yo, Editing Lame here. Appreciate you watching the video. It's been a bit, maybe 3 or 4 months now. And since that time, I have gotten a haircut. I look a little different. I hope you enjoy the new look. I'm happy with how it turned out. But yeah, I feel like this video, I wanted to like get back into editing and just really get my hands on the tools again so I can make something. And I think this one was a little sloppy, maybe a little rushed, but I think I needed to do that in order to like get back into the flow of making these. A little sloppy, you might say, if if you're a Final Fantasy 14 fan. Speaking of Final Fantasy, I do have an idea of making a Final Fantasy retrospective, just like going through the games in chronological order and tackling all of them. And you might be saying to yourself, there's no chronological order to Final Fantasy. And you might be right, but if you consider 1 to be the first, yeah, there is kind of a chronological order. And like each game series has other tie-ins that add to the chronology of the Final Fantasy series. And by my logic, it starts with Stranger of Paradise. This might ruin my gamer cred, but I've actually never beaten a Final Fantasy. I think I've only beaten like 3 JRPGs in total. I end up getting halfway or more through, take too long of a break, and then never pick them back up. But I wanna like do a Final Fantasy from the beginning to the end. So this is the chart I came up with. I did a lot of research. I think I'm mostly right. There might be some questions around like the 12 timeline, because 12 has like Vagrant Story, a bunch of tactics games and stuff like that. And then 13 has like the Chrysalis, or I forget what they call it exactly, but it's like a thing there between 0 and Final Fantasy 15. 14 is also a weird one, 14 and 11, since they're MMOs. I kind of consider 14 to be Realm Reborn to Endwalker. 11, I don't want to deal with the Play Online website, but whatever. I'll figure it out. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I have an idea there for a big retrospective on the Final Fantasy series, really getting into that. And I think it'd be hilarious if the first Final Fantasy game I beat is Stranger of Paradise. Yeah, I think that's just a funny thing to say, that my first Final Fantasy game that I beat was Stranger of Paradise. That, and the other thing I want to do is Yakuza. I want to do that one in release order. And there's just so much to chew on there as well. Ideally, I'd like to get a stream going for Tuesdays, Yakuza days, and then for Fridays, Final Fantasy Fridays. It's a mouthful, but yeah, ideally I want to do those. I need to get consistent with that, but I got some work trips coming up, and I need to be able to commit to it before I can really say I'm going to do that. But anyways, it's been a while. I'm ranting a little longer than usual. But yeah, I hope you, again, enjoyed the video, and for real this time. Peace.